So find a comfortable seat. You can sit on a chair or a sofa or a cushion or a mat, whatever you're comfortable with. Just going to get as comfortable as we possibly can, taking our time as we arrive here together.
Recording in progress.
Okay. So yeah, just find a comfortable seat, and you can close your eyes or keep them open, it's up to you. Everything here is an invitation for, again, just relaxation, finding comfort. There's nothing to do right now, there's nothing to be getting on with, nothing to be achieving. There's just the simplicity of dropping in, so to speak, the dropping into this, whatever it appears to be. And of course that includes thoughts and memories if that's appearing, but also sensation and perception seemingly coursing through the appearance, through the body, whatever else could appear to happen. So it's just an invitation for that to be as it is, for this to be a little bit more open perhaps, if that's what's wanted, maybe a little bit more comfort and ease, maybe a little bit less of stress and tension. And so this isn't sort of trying to make something rigidly different, but there's an open invitation for relaxation. And so when that's said, we can just kind of drop in, so to speak. We can just kind of feel the body connecting to the earth. So again, eyes open or closed, and just sensing, checking in. Feel that point the body makes with the earth, whether it's the sit bones or the feet, the knees. No rush, taking time, dropping in. Just again, sensing how you feel, physically, mentally, emotionally, energetically. When the body becomes still, it's invited to relax, to rest and digest, to open up and activate the parasympathetic nervous system. So no effort required to sit, no force. Again, nothing to be getting through. Not even the need to sit rigidly still. If the body wants to move a little bit, of course that's fine. But if it's comfortable to do so, it can just sit relatively still and checking in with those points that the body connects to the ground. And then we might just find ourselves checking different areas of the body, from head to toe, from hemisphere to hemisphere, from front to back, inside and outside. And as that rotation appears to happen, we might find little pockets of tension that can just open up. The invitation there is just to sense the breath, sense the way the body is holding itself, and again, open invitation for those pockets of tension, wherever they might be, to simply relax. If you feel the shoulders, for example, you might just imagine that a gentle breath could allow any muscles there to just soften up a little bit and just relax. Notice as you do this that the perception of the body seems to gently maybe change, ever so slightly. Maybe it just gets a little bit easier to sit or to lie down even. Notice where the breath is felt. Is it felt in the chest, the diaphragm? Maybe it's felt in the belly as well. Sensations of the breath coursing through the torso. Gentle invitations just to allow the body to relax a bit more, breath by breath, maybe just a little bit more. You might like to sigh out through the mouth. You might like to yawn. You might like to blow air through pursed lips. No right or wrong answer there. Just try things out. The great thing about doing these sessions online is you, well, potentially can make as much noise as you want. And no one needs to know about it. But yeah, just see what the breath wants to do. Sometimes it's really nice just to have a great big sigh out through the mouth and we didn't even realize it. It can be really soothing. Soothing for the organs inside, soothing for the nervous system at large. Again, never minding about what comes next here, what the next exercise might be, just imagining that you could fully enjoy the sensation of breathing right now. Such simplicity in breath and sensation without it needing to be going anywhere. You might find that the breath begins to deepen a little bit, or it might become a little bit more shallow. Again, just noticing, no right or wrong here. So let's go ahead and try some wave breathing now. So now that we're maybe just a little bit more settled into sitting, or even lying down, at the moment that is an option. And we're just going to rest one hand on the belly and one hand on the heart. And as you do this, just notice any tendency for the shoulders to tense up. So see if those shoulders can be as relaxed as possible. Shoulders are relaxed, neck is relaxed, jaw is relaxed. One hand over the chest, one hand over the tummy. And we're going to do the wave breathing now. So as we sit nice and comfortably, we're just going to invite the breath to fill up from the belly first and then up to the chest. Okay, very simple exercise. You imagine filling up a glass of water from the base up to the rim. So it's like we're filling up from the bottom all the way up to the top on the inhale. And as we exhale out, we empty back down from the rim all the way down to the base. Very simple. It's called wave breathing. You could imagine here, if you're visually inclined, just a nice ocean tide sort of gently coming in and out with each inhale and exhale. A nice wave sensation moving through the torso. Sensing the way that makes the body feel. Wave breathing. Not only is this good for calming the nervous system, but it's also good for energizing the body, because we're getting more of a full breath here, which we might not always do, or we might not always get to do. Especially if we have busy, active lives, it's nice to just counter that activity with some soothing, gentle breathing exercises. So breathing in to the belly, then the diaphragm, ribs, up to the chest, maybe even feeling it up to the collarbones. And then as we exhale, it moves from the collarbones all the way back down to the navel. Take your time here and find your own pace. You don't have to force it. It's a gentle exercise. It's a yin oriented exercise. So you don't have to fill up too much and you don't have to empty out too much either. It's just about soothing and relaxing. And maybe on the next 3 exhales here before we move on, we can just blow the last little bit of air out through pursed lips. Just encouraging any stress to release. Any unnecessary stress or tension is just simply allowed to kind of flush out, as it were, on those next 2 or 3 exhalations. Blowing that air out. You might even let it just empty out completely if that feels comfy. Nice. Nice. Okay. Let's carry that wave breathing on, but this time we introduce a movement with that wave breath. So now that we're perhaps a little bit familiar with what we just did there, we can introduce an arm movement with it. So on the next inhale, from the base, we're going to reach the arms up, gently, gently, as far as they want to go. Inhale, reach up, palms face the ceiling, and then exhale, that motion reverses back down in synchronization with the breath. Alright, nice. Very simple. Breathing in and breathing out. Again, find your own pace here. Sometimes we like to do it slow, sometimes we want to do it a bit faster. So I'm just doing the pace in which this body wants to go. But you might want to do it slower or faster. Again, don't force the breath to elongate. It shouldn't feel forceful. If it does, just relax it a little bit. The breath will probably start to slow down even more. Like every time we do this motion, it may start to slow down even more, but there's no rush to do that, obviously. Just find your own pace, your own rhythm. Very, very nice. Let's do this a couple more times and then we'll move into a lateral stretch. Nice long stretch for the arms, opening the chest up, the abdomen, the side body. Okay, one more time here. We're going to reach up on an inhale. And then we're going to leave our left arm up and our right arm is going to come down. I'm doing your mirror image, by the way. And then you come over to your right side. So this is a lateral stretch. Nice lateral bend. We're going to feel the stretch into the left side body and feel the squishy sensation on the right side body. So yeah, left side is stretching, right side is squishy. And just feel that stretch. You might want to like move around a little bit, or you might want to hang it still. It really is up to you, but wherever you are, try and keep both hips planted evenly on the ground. So if you're not used to this stretch, or if you're feeling a little bit achy for whatever reason, you might want to move around. Sometimes it doesn't feel very comfortable to hold it still. Another option is that you could come forwards and touch your little finger to the ground like this. So you can just kind of get a little bit more fluidity into the stretch. Or you might find something else to do, something that I haven't thought of. Wherever you are, just enjoy the sensation of stretching laterally right now. If you can get your elbow on the ground, great. If you can't, great. It doesn't matter what's going on. Yeah. And then we're going to come over, all the way over to the other side. So now left palm plants and right arm comes up. And again, just maybe consider repeating the exact same thing you did on the other side, just for the sake of, what's the word? I forgot the word for some reason. Balancing everything out on the left and the right hemisphere. So if you're hanging it still, you can just stay still. If you're coming down in front, that's great. Or maybe you're just coming up and down a little bit. Doesn't matter too much. Breathing into it. Use that breath to really open up the muscles and the tissues, encouraging everything to soften and relax, but also to stretch, enjoying all of the biochemicals and things going on, the various complexities that the body seems to present with when we're moving it the way it wants to be moved. And the breath can really help with that. Alright, I'm just going to play with going round a little bit on both sides now. So again, really go as slow as you want to go, or as fast as you want to go, so you can alternate. One breath per stretch perhaps, or two. Again, you don't need to do exactly what I'm doing if it doesn't feel right, or if you have a preference. This is really nice for the digestive system, by the way, especially when we're doing it with care and nice breathing. Not necessarily deep breathing, but gentle breathing. It's also good for the spinal cord, which is what we seem to be working on today. Not working on, playing with rather, should I say. There's nothing to work on. We're just playing with the fluidity of the body movements. But the spinal cord, as you may know, is it's like a highway or a motorway for the central nervous system, right? And if that's not tended to, then it can seem to get all jammed up. And when we move in these ways, we're kind of allowing that highway, that super electric highway, to be a little bit more open and fluid. Yeah. And then messages and things can flow a little bit more efficiently and smoothly. We don't often think of the spinal cord as part of the, married up with the central nervous system, but it is really important for the health and longevity of the body. Okay, we'll make our way back to center. Okay, nice. I'm going to do a wave exercise now, which is really nice. I'm going to keep our legs crossed or kneeling, wherever you are, however you're positioned. Or if you're in a chair, then the feet may be planted on the ground. And we're going to start to move in this plane of movement now. And we're going to wave through the spine. Now your hands can rest on the knees or the lap or somewhere else. If you're on an armchair, you can rest them on the arms. But you're going to sort of come down and your chin's going to tuck to the chest here. And then as the chin tucks to the chest, we might find ourselves rolling back here slightly before elongating the spine. Chest opens up on the front side. And then chin extends, comes forwards. And we just got this really nice wave movement. So we're like really flexing and extending the whole spinal cord, but in a really gentle way. It's really nice. This is a Qigong exercise called the wave. It's quite self-explanatory. And we can relax all of the muscles surrounding the spine, the serratus anterior, the trapezius, the erectors on the back body, the abdominals, the pectoralis minor and major on the front side. Now notice what the breath wants to do. Let's give you a little side view if you can't quite tell what's going on here. Nice wave-like motion. Flexing and extending. Very nice. Take your time. See again how much you want to fluctuate here. Whether it's massive movements or whether it's maybe a little bit more gentle. Okay. Inhale and exhale. When we breathe and move in these ways, the breath and the body are sort of, it's as though they're syncing up or something. And we're moving in a little bit more harmony. There's a bit more harmony, harmony to the composure of the body. Okay. And then on the next inhale, I just breathe in and reach it up. And then on the next exhale, we're just going to stay down. Just going to exhale and maybe come down. Now again, if you're in a chair, you can obviously just rest your tummy on your legs. If you're sitting cross-legged, you can just kind of come forwards. You can rest your arms on the ground. It's kind of like a seated child's pose. And maybe if your hips are okay with it, you can rest the head on the hands or the ground. Don't press anything too much here. Just going to kind of come forwards, as it were. Just really let everything come down. And we just, wherever you are, just really imagine that you could invite the breath to fully enter the back body now. We're often imagining that the breath is opening up the chest and the tummy, but now we're inviting the opening on the back of the body, the back of the ribs, the upper, mid and lower back, cervical, thoracic and lumbar vertebrae, and all of the muscles that surround it. Does the breath want to vocalize, or does it just want to stay quiet? No right or wrong answer, but just play. And then slowly coming back up in your own time. Maybe it's vertebrae by vertebrae, from the base to the chin. Oh, wow, that was nice. Okay, I'm going to do a twist now. So we're going to do a seated twist. It's very, very simple. I'm just going to once again check in with the body, notice what might have changed since beginning the session, and just inviting the spine to be long but not straight. We don't straighten the spine, obviously. It's an S shape almost. So I want the spine to be long, but we're not forcing it to be straight, because that will probably cause more problems than good. And a nice long lengthened spine, but relaxed in the neck again, the shoulders, feeling the hips, and maybe just placing our hands down to one side just to support the elongation, or on the arms of the chair, wherever you are. And then we're going to take one hand to the opposite knee, whilst maintaining the length of the spine. We're going to start to twist over to this side. Now I've got my right hand on my left knee, you might have it the other way. It doesn't really matter too much which way we go first. And then this hand is probably going to come a little bit further back, maybe even behind the hip. I'm just going to look over that shoulder. Nice long spine, but trying not to try. Trying not to try, you know, it's so easy to force the twist to be as much as it can be, trying to look 180 degrees backwards or something, and this really isn't helpful. In a way, less is more sometimes. So we can just let the shoulders relax, let the thoracic cavity relax, let the whole body relax, and inhale a gentle lift and exhale a gentle relaxation of the twist. Finding that breath the way it wants to express. Eyes are open or closed here, doesn't matter too much. And then in your own time, just going to slowly and gently switch sides. So take your time. The transition is as important as the posture. So it's not like we're just going to rush crazily into the other side. And take our time, and you can even make it a bit of a dance, really. Again, if you feel like you want some fluidity here, you can sort of move a little bit, or you could even just keep switching from side to side. It's all about what the body likes. This body really wants to sigh right now. It really wants to keep sighing, it likes it. If you imagine that the spinal cord is a bit like a cloth, a wet cloth, and with the spinal twist, you're just kind of wringing out all of this dirty, stagnant water. It's just giving it a little bit of a squeeze. Alright, when we're ready, just slowly coming back to center. Nice. Okay, I don't know where we are in terms of position, but I wouldn't mind just doing a little bit of a butterfly. I don't know if that's available. I mean, if we're in a chair, we can still spread the knees relatively apart. I'm just going to invite us to do a kind of butterfly posture or cobbler's pose. Now, there is a difference between the two, by the way, just in case you didn't know. Butterfly is usually where we have the fingers over the feet like this, clasping them all together, and the soles remain like that, and we can have a bit of a bounce. Cobbler is a little bit slightly more intense. That's where we take our thumbs and we open up the feet like so, and then we usually keep this posture still. So butterfly is a bit like that. It's a little bit more gentle, I would suggest. It's quite nice when our hips are maybe a little bit tight or achy or whatever, or just enjoy a little bit of a stretch. Alternatively, cobbler is where we just take it a little bit deeper into those groin muscles. Open up. Whichever one you're doing here, just notice the position of the spine. It's very easy to start to do this and start to collapse. So trying to keep the spine nice and long, knees gently coming apart. And then maybe if you are doing either, actually, you can do a little bit of a forward fold. We want to try and keep the spine nice and long if we want to do that. Gently leaning forward. You don't have to come too far. You don't have to go at all, actually. Then coming up, nice long spine. Taking the hands, using the strength of the arms for this part on the outside of the knees, and bring the knees together. We're going to give ourselves a nice big hug. we're coming towards the end of our session. Very well, we've still got a little while actually. Started at 5 past. So we're going to do a couple of postures and move towards a lying down position if there's room for that. But first we're just going to give ourselves a little bit of a hug here. Maybe if you're comfy with it, you can get the arms all the way around the knees and rest the forehead on the knees as well. Notice the tendency again for the shoulders to tense up if that is a habit. Okay. Alright, and then we're going to do a little rock and roll. If anyone has any back problems here, be really, really gentle with this next part. We're going to do a bit of a rock and roll. Make sure you've got enough room behind you. We don't want any head banging. Well, not head banging in that sense anyway. We're going to take our hands underneath the knees and we're going to sort of rock gently back and forward. This is really nice for massaging the whole spinal cord and the muscles if you haven't done it before. You can roll back as slowly as you like, as gently as you like, or if you're used to it, if you know what to do. I have a feeling most people do. Go a little bit faster. Rock and roll. Oh, very good. Rolling out through the back body. Get that fluidity into the spine and the back. Nice. Very nice. Maybe a couple more of these, and then when you're ready, we're just going to stay down. So 2 or 3 more, if you like, if you're enjoying it. And then eventually it's going to come down and it's going to stay down, and then we're going to keep our knees in here. Now, you might like to hold your shins instead of your knees. The reason why is because when we hold our knees, we're susceptible to lifting our tailbone off of the ground. And if we can hug our shins instead, it just kind of keeps that nice elongation into the back body. So just staying down there, hugging those knees in, or those shins in. And you might like to do some circles with the knees. You might like to go side to side with the knees. Just play with it, see what the body wants to do. You might want to bring the knees apart and play with that. Or you might even want to go into Happy Baby and take hold of the outer edges of the feet. That's a nice position as well. Wherever you are, just find that freedom, find the fun, find the play. Stretching, bending, twisting, folding, swinging, swaying. Again, breath is invited here fully. Those breathing exercises of sighing and ujjayi breath and wave breathing, etc. go totally hand in hand with all of these movements and stretches, these asanas, postures. Okay. Let's bring our feet to the ground. So our knees are going to stay up here, feet are going to come to the ground. If you can, and you know how to, you can bring the heel directly underneath the knee, so it's kind of like a vertical line. And then we're just going to play with some windshield wipers. Now again, you have the option here to leave the knees down for a few breaths before switching, or you could alternate just like this, side to side, swishing and swaying. So again, depending on where the body is right now and how the body is right now, you might want to keep it a little bit stationary, or you might want a bit more movement and a bit of a fluid switch there. You can rest your hands on your tummy and chest or out to the sides. You could even have them up above if you like. There's different positions which seem to do different things. And if you are alternating, you can keep your head going the other way. So when the knees come down to one side, you could look the other direction just to get that twist up to the cervical region of the spinal cord. So I think this will be our last asana stroke exercise before relaxing for a little while. Okay, and when you're ready, maybe the knees can come back up. And if you want to, before extending the legs out into Shavasana, you might like to try this one, where the feet come to the edges of the mat, either side, and the knees come together. So the feet are spread out, and now the knees are together. And hold that there, just gently sensing the hips, the legs, the torso. And then when you're ready, you're just going to extend one leg out very gently again. Just be careful with that lower back there before extending the other one out as well. So obviously, well, I don't know if it's obvious or not actually, but traditional Shavasana is where the legs are splayed out, feet are about as wide as the mat, arms to the sides, palms face up, but it doesn't have to be like that, alright? If you prefer the hands to rest on the tummy or the chest or both, you could have the palms face down. You could even lie on your side, there's no rules. Just find a comfortable lying down position. Reclined position, yeah. If you've got a blanket or a cushion for behind the knees or the head, you might like to grab that. If you've got an eye pillow or any other little pieces of equipment to enhance this last part of the session, it's always welcome. Adjusting the hair or jewellery or any garments of clothing so as to make sure that for the next few minutes you won't be disturbed. You can just really allow for the melting of tension, the melting of stress, melting of worries or whatever else might not be serving right now. And for a few moments, maybe just noticing how the body is feeling now in comparison to how it was feeling at the beginning. And there's no requirement there, there's no expectation either, but it can be just quite nice to see what's changed and what is being felt right now. These exercises are very simple, but apparently also very effective. It can be as though the body is a bit like a snow globe, and with all of its activity and engagement and interactions, and sometimes all of that energy can seem quite scattered and sporadic. And through the simple slowing down, winding down, tending to the different tissues and muscle groups through asanas and breath work or breath play, and the body can quite dynamically change the way it feels. And you might like to once again, just as we did at the beginning of this session, take a little scan through the body now. I'm not going to guide you where to go, but just intuitively the body can find out where tension might still unnecessarily be lingering. You could go from the crown of the head all the way down to the feet, or vice versa. It could be a random exploration. You could go from left hemisphere to right hemisphere of the body, back to front. But there's just an invitation to see where the body might benefit from opening up a little bit in terms of tension and contraction. And maybe the breath could become the focus for the last few moments. And without it being too obscure, the breath could be felt and focused in a psychosomatic way, meaning you can feel the breath, you can feel where the breath is right now, you can feel this sensation, for example, in the belly button or the diaphragm, that lovely dome-shaped muscle just underneath the ribs. Or maybe you can feel the air gently travelling and trickling through the nostrils. We're just having a sense of that breath right now without it changing necessarily. It could just be a very soft, shallow, subtle breath pattern. With each exhale, it's just a little bit Perhaps it just seems like everything's a little bit more quiet or something. A little bit more soft and smooth. Maybe even a little bit more transparent, as though the solidity of sensation and vibration is just a little bit more soft and open. And as and when we're ready, and not a moment before, we're going to take our time ever so gently, starting to invite the body to wake back up. And I do mean taking our time. We can just start to gradually move the fingers and the toes, hands and feet, arms and legs. Maybe a breath deepens here as we very gradually, slowly and gently start to move around, reintegrating back into movement and engagement, social engagement, bodily activity. The body is very delicately absorbing whilst coming gently out. It's nice to make that really nice and gradual. And when we're ready, a seated position can just occur once again, like it did at the beginning. Notice how you feel right now. And maybe those feelings and sensations can just be taken into the rest of the day, the rest of the evening, the rest of wherever you are, whatever time it is. Having a lovely sleep tonight, maybe. Thank you so very much for joining me and hanging out and playing. I'll do another session next week at some point, to be confirmed. And thanks for everyone watching this back and playing YoQini with Alexis. Much, much love. Much, much love. Namaste.